Hello, it is a new Sprint Ride Option podcast. I am Andrew Pasquini. We are part of the Blue Wire Hustle Network. Jason, I was telling you like literally 3 seconds ago before we went live, I got to be careful with this one because if I say it, I guess correctly, um, I'm gonna have to put the adult censor on this podcast, and I really don't want to do that today. So, as always, joining me to my right is Jason. Somebody say, "Hey, we want some Ponte." 10 out of
Perfect.
10.
Nailed it. That one's a 10.
10 out of 10. I thought that one was pretty good. I was really worried that I was going to slip up and say the other word, but we are a family-friendly podcast, and I'm not going to even tell them where to look up the reference at. But that's the one we're going with. Jason, do you want to talk some Teddy Bridgewater and JJ Watt today?
Sure, why not? Nothing's throwing me. It's March 1st of 2021 at this point.
Yeah, I mean everything. I feel like a lot of today is just going to be what Friday's episode was, where we're just going to say take everything you read with a grain of salt because everything's about positioning. I do want to get a dad joke off real quick because I don't know, I'm going to forget it. So are you ready for the greatest dad joke that I thought about way too long today at work?
Go for it.
Why did the Seahawks not sign JJ Watt?
Because they don't have unlimited power?
Because they measure how bright their light bulbs are in lumens and not watts.
That one's actually really good.
Because get it? They play at Lumen Field now, or whatever it's called up there now.
No, that's actually really good, actually.
Your jokes are funny when you have to explain them to people, but that's okay. So some news.
No, you didn't have to explain it.
I explained it just in case it went over somebody's head. There we go. So a news report came out today. The Athletic. Once we're talking about the Athletic again. This time, Joseph Person wrote an article titled "Carolina Panthers offseason quarterback plan: Trade for Deshaun Watson, flip Teddy Bridgewater, draft Zach Wilson?" ? And it's relevant to 49er fans. You didn't have to read too deep into it. Pretty much starts the article. You probably heard the Panthers are interested in finding an upgrade for quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. The rest of the NFL has gotten the message as well. San Francisco is among the teams that have called the Carolina to gauge the Panthers' interest in potentially trading Bridgewater, according to league sources. San Francisco general manager John Lynch indicated last week the 49ers would like to find a solid backup as insurance for oft-injured starter Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's really all the information we got on that. The article is pretty much just what the Panthers' plans are. But we're talking about it because they said the word San Francisco 49ers. So Teddy Bridgewater, 49ers quarterback 2021. What do you think, Jason?
Not as a backup. Too much money. Doesn't make sense. Like, I just, I don't know, man. Again, I didn't really dig into this article or anything like that. When you wake up and the first thing that's on your timeline is the 49ers called about Teddy Bridgewater. It was almost just like a SpongeBob meme. It's like, all right, I'm gonna head out. Like, I'm not doing this today. And I wasn't trying to do it like at all, I don't know what it means, man. It could be just them calling to see what their temperature's like with him so they can figure out what their interest is in moving up and things like that. And yeah, I mean, for him to be a backup, he makes too much money for that, man. And then again, I hate to keep sounding like a broken record, but a backup who costs more and a starting quarterback who costs a ton, just whatever. I sound like because I feel like that already at March 1st with all this talk.
Well, in terms of the 49ers content, Jason, in this article, when you control F to search a specific word in the article and type in 49ers, it comes up twice. So the 49ers are not mentioned. I already said the first mention of it. The second mention was, so while the teams call about Bridgewater, USA Radio Network host Dan Silo first reported the 49ers' interest last weekend. The Panthers are expected to slow play the situation. So this article really isn't about the 49ers. It's just more about the Panthers' offseason plans. My big thought on it is he's cheaper than Jimmy Garoppolo because I don't think this is – I think this is more of a play on he would be like, I don't want to compare it to the Tyrod Taylor situation last year because I hope nobody goes through what Tyrod Taylor had to go through last year where I think Bridgewater would be brought in as a cheaper alternative to Garoppolo. I think it's pretty obvious that if the Niners do decide Teddy Bridgewater is the choice, Jimmy Garoppolo wouldn't be on this roster anymore, because you're not going to put however many dollars that would be in just the quarterback position. It would be a cheaper alternative to Garoppolo. Now, whether or not that's an upgrade, I don't know. I'm not here to decide that. That's everybody else's opinion, because different people have quarterbacks rated differently and all that fun stuff. But I think it would be kind of like a situation with Tyrod Taylor and the Chargers last year. The Niners are probably still going to draft a quarterback first and then just wait on it. Probably Bridgewater would be your week 1 starter. See how long he goes. His dead cap number for 2021 is $20 million, if I'm reading this right. And that's a pre-June 1st date. But his dead cap number for 2022 would be $5 million. So it would probably be, the context I'm getting it is the Niners would trade for Bridgewater. He would be the starter / bridge
quarterback. Do it.
Get it. His name is Bridgewater, but he would be the bridge quarterback, and he would just be a little cheaper than Garoppolo. I think somebody over the cap says his cap number is 22 this year, so it's a little cheaper than Garoppolo's. But I also saw somebody say it was 17, and if that's the case, that's a little bit more money that the Niners can put towards Trent Williams, because I just think that's where the money's going right now. Is whatever money they save is going to go to whatever offer Trent Williams is going to get. So yeah, I mean, we opened the show with Teddy Bridgewater just because the 49ers name was thrown in there. I don't expect much to it. I have other thoughts on this that I could share. It's kind of like we said on Friday. It's smokescreen season. This could easily, like I said, that you can take any quote from Kyle Shanahan or who's the other name? The GM, John Lynch. God, I drew that. It's Monday, man. Don't come at me for that. I forgot his name. John Lynch. We could take any quote from any of them and just take it any way we want. And there's about 17 different ways I could take Teddy Bridgewater to the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's Teddy and a rookie, something like that, that sort of thought process, then okay, I'm much more on board with that than it is just bringing in a back. Like, I think that really what had people really nervous today was the quotes about upgrading the backup quarterback position, and then thinking that was going to be a pivot to that. And that's way too expensive to allocate that much money to 2 quarterbacks, right? So, that was the thought. That was the reason that when like people were losing their mind over that, I was just like, well, that one doesn't really make much sense for you to go crazy over, right? So I think that the more telling thing is if there is something that they would take Teddy for, it's so that that team could have a bridge quarterback. I like that you did that, though. But it's literally like, that's not even trying to be punny. That's just what it is. So
it's a cheaper option than Garoppolo in an off season. I just feel like we're going to rehash what we said on Friday more. Just It's a cheaper option to Garoppolo. They can spend money where they need to. Because priority 1A is like I get Orlando Brown's available, but that is such a steep Trent Williams is that good that he's priority 1A. He is priority 1A for the 49ers right now. You need to bring back your left tackle. That's what it is. And anything to save the money to do so, that's what the Niners need to do. And that's just what it is.
My thing is with Orlando Brown, and I could be wrong, is that I'm not certain if he's a scheme fit. Like, that's what made the Trent thing perfect. You bring Trent in, he's the best in the league. He understands the scheme. He'll be here, for the rest of his time, however long that is. While Orlando Brown is young, I'm more worried of the scheme fit, right? And me, I'm against smashing circles into square pegs, right? Like, that doesn't, I hate that idea. I do, so, yeah. God. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's my thing too. And not even just from a scheme fit, but in terms of, skill level too. I just feel like the drop off from Trent Williams, and this is nothing against Orlando Brown. It has everything to do with how good Trent Williams is. He is very, 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 very good. And the Niners offensive line, an offense that needs a good offensive line. Trent Williams needs to be the guy they hold on to. With the Teddy Bridgewater thing, though, I could see this being a thing that's 100% true, because I'm sure the 49ers have called everybody. I'm sure they've called Seattle just to be like, hey, like, I know we don't like each other, but you have Russell Wilson. We want him. What would it take? I said that on Friday too. I could see this being a thing. The Niners have, leaked out that they've called on Teddy Bridgewater to maybe give the idea to teams that, hey, maybe we're not going to trade up in the draft for a quarterback. I could see Carolina leaking this information because they think they can get a better offer than whatever the 49ers said in this phone call that happened, and saying, hey, the Niners called in on him. Like, there's a million ways to look at this. I guess the best way to sum it up in a sentence that makes no sense, but this is the sentence that came into my head about it, is it is the off season. Everything means nothing and nothing means everything.
No, that's perfect. That's it. Yep. Believe, half of what you, what is it? All of whatever, half of what you read, whatever, none of what you see, any of that, everything. Don't believe anything at this point right now. Nobody's telling the truth.
No, nobody's telling the truth. Everything's a lie. Don't believe it unless it is the truth, unless it ends up being true. Like, it is what it is. I don't think that they're looking at Teddy Bridgewater and his contract as a backup to Garoppolo. It could be Teddy Bridgewater and his contract as a backup to Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, or I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence because I just want to get the soundbite saying that. So, like, it's just, I don't know, man. Now, I guess the big question is if we take this with the grain of, as truth, and the Niners are looking at Teddy Bridgewater, is Teddy Bridgewater an upgrade on Jimmy Garoppolo?
It feels more lateral than anything. If it is an upgrade, it's of the thinnest of margins. Yeah, nothing against Teddy, and that's what kind of, it kind of ties into the other person that everybody's been talking about bringing in as a backup, which I'm against, and that's Alex Smith. Look, nothing against them. Love the journey, love the story and everything. No. And the only reason I say no is that Alex Smith is not going to, sacrifice whatever 1 year he has left on his leg to mentor somebody and be a backup. Why would you? You would at least go somewhere where they would give you a chance to play. So that thought is out with Alex Smith. The same thing with Teddy. If it is an upgrade, it's of the thinnest of margins. Yeah, like, he was fine. It's just, again, those throws will be there. He can hit them, the same way that when this offense is running well, someone can. But if it is an upgrade, it's up to you whether that is. I won't fight you on that, but I can't say for certain. Probably the same thing, with the less cap hit, so it gives you a chance to do more in free agency.
Yeah, my big, honestly, this is so much like the Carson Wentz thing that came out, that the Niners might be interested in Wentz. I think Wentz is better than Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes.
My interest with Bridgewater, though, kind of peaks at his mobility. Teddy Bridgewater had, and rushing yards isn't the most accurate way to describe a quarterback's mobility. It's just the laziest way. And it's Monday and I'm feeling lazy about it. Teddy Bridgewater in 2020, 279 yards rushing, 5.3 yards per carry. Jimmy Garoppolo on his career has 141 rushing yards. I've kind of said it since day one. I would love to see what a mobile quarterback looks like in the 2021 version of Kyle Shanahan's offense, because we saw a little bit of it with RG3 back in
CJ
Washington. CJ Beathard is very mobile too. You saw those runs he pulled off. And obviously the offense is significantly different than what Kyle Shanahan was running with Robert Griffin, because offense has evolved since that point. I'm more curious at what, Shanahan can do with a quarterback who can move, and Teddy Bridgewater is that option. Is Teddy Bridgewater an upgrade on Jimmy Garoppolo? No. But is that salary cap number an upgrade on Jimmy Garoppolo? Yes. And that's what I'm really looking at, because I am in the boat of whatever brings Trent Williams back needs to be done. That's just what it is. That's just what it is at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yep, agree. And that's it. And again, any thought that we have of moving from quarterbacks has to do from a strict roster construction point of view. Again, no hating. None of this, get rid of this guy. No, just maybe we're just thinking about it in a way that you need to be thinking about it, as far as tough decisions need to be made. And what do you value more, roster construction or being, loyal to one person, right? And that's the thing, really, more than anything. That's always what it's been.
Yep, it's what it is, as we said. Like, I just feel like we could have just put a recording of Friday's episode on, but if we did that, we couldn't wear the same hat. But people are mentioning how cool your hat is, and nobody's saying anything about mine. But anyways, that's beyond
No.
the point. No, yeah, like it just comes down to what's best for the roster as a whole. That's what it is.
Mhm.
And if Teddy Bridgewater's lesser money makes this team able to keep Trent Williams and Jason Verrett and Emmanuel Mosley and all those guys they need to bring back, then it's the right move. But if they can figure out a way to bring those guys back and keep Garoppolo's contract, I would probably rather have Garoppolo than Bridgewater in that case. So it just kind of comes down to what you prefer. If you would rather have a quarterback who's been here for 3 years now or 4 years now, who's gone to a Super Bowl, then sure, you'd probably rather have Garoppolo. But if you're looking at a team as a whole, Bridgewater makes more sense at this point, but it's not exactly what I would call an upgrade. That's all. Speaking of Trent Williams, because I saw Trent Williams' name come up a lot today, the Arizona Cardinals did something. They signed JJ Watt, which good for them. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm very indifferent, although I do want to say something. Like, my first thought was it was a very 49ers move of them, if you think about it, because they already had. I'm not that. Come on, Jason. I was trying to be more positive than that.
Sorry, I was just asking. I thought that's where you were going.
No. So, Arizona, not the best secondary in 2020. I almost said 2021. I'm trying to look real quick, and I could be wrong, but they're going to lose Pat Pete. They were a top 10 defense in terms of pass yards, so I'm already wrong on that. However, my point being, they've decided that they're going to go all in on pass rushers and deal with the secondary as it is, and that is what the 49ers did in 20. Oh my God, all the years are molding together. 2019, that's what they did after that year where they had 2 interceptions. They said the secondary is actually fine. We are going to bring in pass rushers. And that's, it worked for the Niners. The Cardinals had 11 interceptions this year, which is 21st in the league. They were tied with a few teams. I don't know, man. I don't think it really moves the needle in the NFC West. I'm curious to see what they do with JJ Watt. I don't think edge rusher was their biggest need. But yeah, JJ Watt's on the Cardinals. So what was your first reaction to that?
Well, my first reaction is that he's going to get a ton of one-on-ones because he's not going to be on the edge anymore. Like, I think they're going to kick him inside, that's where he was succeeding, when he was there. So look, I get, overpaying, fine. It doesn't move the needle for the Cardinals. Cliff Kingsbury is still the coach. It doesn't really bother me at all. We've voiced our opinion on this pod of him. We don't think highly of him. He's the 4th worst coach in the NFC West. Yes. But I get afraid of this, right? JJ Watt's probably not going to play 17 games, right? I would bet what little money I have on the fact that he won't play a full season. My thing is that doesn't really matter, because if the right guard or the guard center combo has problems with him in the 2 games that they meet, let's say he only plays 2 games a year and it's against the 49ers, he has a chance to wreck the game, with Chandler Jones on the outside wreaking havoc and with him on the inside, and that's kind of what made the 2019 defense so special for the 49ers, right? Is that you had these studs who you couldn't double team, right? Because you had to worry about everybody else. So, Hassan Reddick is probably not going to be there next year, but Chandler Jones and JJ Watt is enough to not revive JJ Watt's career, but it's going to be, he hasn't had a pass rusher since, and Clowney wasn't even really a pass rusher. Like, when he was there, he was much better in the run. He really wasn't like one of those guys like that. So, this feels like the perfect move for him as far as getting himself free so he can do some things, but it doesn't really move the needle. It doesn't make the Cardinals this super team, or anything that you really need to fear. It's just, my fear is that, if he blows up 1 or 2 of those games and the 49ers need that game to get into the playoffs or something like that, that would be the only thing that gets me a little nervous.
Yeah, and I mean, my big question is how well can JJ Watt cover Jeff Wilson on the Texas route? That's really that's my biggest takeaway. You can't. So does JJ Watt make them better? No, I don't think so, because you still can't cover that Texas route. Yeah, I think it obviously makes the pass rush better for them. I just don't see how it gets them any closer to an NFC West title. I just feel like as a whole, I just don't even know what's wrong with the Cardinals, and it's probably the head coach. That's coded language for the head coach is probably the
Sometimes
problem.
the easiest answer is the one that's right in front of you.
Yeah, and so it's a splash move, I guess. Like it's a move that'll get the fan base excited. In terms of, yeah, I'm interested to see if he gets kicked to the inside. I think that's something that could help him. I definitely don't think he's going to be an every down type player. He hasn't exactly been that in a long time. I think he could very much be like how the Chiefs handled Dee Ford, where he just kind of played on Sundays and pass rushing situations and practice much, kind of things like that to keep the health, because that's another issue with him is he's hurt a lot. It's just it's a move that got the national attention because it's JJ Watt and everybody loves JJ Watt. He's JJ Watt. How could you not love him? He doesn't even have a Peloton. We learned that today.
KJ Watt does though.
KJ, dude, that was always my thing. It's like there's like the Peloton stuff came out like last week. I'm like, why would he be updating his Peloton account? That's not a thing. There's no way that's him. And of course, like that's what it is. So yeah, I don't think this by any chance moves them any closer to the NFC West. I think the biggest impact that JJ Watt signing with the Cardinals had was Russell Wilson looking at the Cardinals now and being like, I don't want to play them twice a year.
I'm not
either.
playing. Yeah.
Can you send me to Chicago? Like, please get me out of here. That's really the biggest implication I think it would have on the NFC West. If that's even, I don't even think that's a thing. That's more of a joke. But yeah, no, JJ Watt isn't, I don't know. It's 2021, man. Like,
yeah.
JJ Watt's best games are behind. It's just more the thought of JJ Watt is scary.
Right.
That's what it is.
It's
I don't think JJ Watt is scary as a player. So,
one more thing that I want to point out, and take this for whatever you want. I thought JJ Watt wanted to go to a contender. Funny how a bunch of money changes your mind when it's thrown in front of you.
Yeah,
just
like if
food for thought, guys.
If you really want, like, that's my thing. It's like, yeah, if you like. There were teams that were interested. I mean, I would say the Browns are in a better spot to win the Cardinals. The Packers obviously in a better spot. The Bills were in. Who's the other one? The Steelers were in just because they have his brothers. And Arizona's the choice. That one just a little sus.
Yes, very much so. But yes, I mean, again, you don't really fear that he's going to have an impact that'll swing anything. It's just that when he's in those games against the 49ers, that's all I care about, those two games. And if he misses those games, then whatever, I'll shut up, but I'm just really worried about that, so that's the thing.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that, a big part of why he went to Arizona, I feel like the guaranteed money was pretty high on that deal. I know it was, what was it, $33 million over the 2 years, but the guaranteed was like, was it 23?
Yeah.
I want to double check that before I say that, but like, yeah. So 31 2-year deal, 31 million, 23 guaranteed. He announced it in a weird way, I guess. He tweeted out a picture of him wearing a Cardinals. I think my favorite thing about that picture is it definitely looks like not an official Cardinal shirt. It just looks like he went to like his local, I would say sports authority, but that's out of business. He went to his local sports store, bought like one of those 3/4 baseball shirts with the red, and just ironed on the Cardinals logo. And he's just like, yeah, this is my shirt now. This is how I'm announcing it. I thought maybe like he was announcing he was weightlifting, and then I saw the logo on the shirt. Makes sense.
I think that the best little thing is that, my daughter, we have the magnet from the 2019 season schedule, and she goes down it. She's like Chiefs, Broncos, when she gets there, she won't change her name on it, and she calls the Cardinals the Owls. So fast forward to today when that picture comes up and it's on my phone and my daughter's sitting next to me. It's so funny. She's like, she looks off, she comes back and she looks and she's like, Owls. And I'm like, yes, honey, the Owls. They're not the Cardinals. We don't call them the Owls over here.
That's the new rule. Arizona Cardinals, I know you're watching. I know you guys are huge fans of the pod. Change your name to the Arizona Owls. That's just, it's the rules now.
No, I mean, you don't have to. You're just the Owls now. Just accept it.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, it's kind of like how, what we need to do? We need to find a sponsor of the Arizona Cardinals and get them to pull money until they change their name to the Owls, because that's what gets the ball rolling. Looking at you, Washington football team. It wasn't problematic until the money started going away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So do you have any I don't know. This was designed to be a little short episode. That's okay. Do you have any final thoughts on Teddy Bridgewater or JJ Watt? Or
No, the Teddy Bridgewater thing, I think we're kind of clear. It gives you that flexibility to bring people back. And, roster construction is always going to be the thing that I'm going to harp on. You hope that the 49ers would have went into some sort of plan of being able to bring in Trent Williams while keeping Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if they did. I hope they did, because if they didn't, then they have to make some strong maneuvers pretty quickly. So I don't really read much into it. I mean, at this point, every day that we're going to wake up to another quarterback, that people are talking about and things like that. It's really good for watching arguments on the timeline and things like that. But until, something really tangible is like really there, that, I'm not going to get too worked up about it. So yeah, nothing against Teddy, but it is what it is, and if that's the move, that's the move. But it's going to be a move to build out the roster. And, I'm not completely against that, and if that becomes a rookie that comes with it, then, then definitely sign me up, because where I'm at with that. And with JJ Watt, that's not going to move the needle. They'll be, if you didn't root for the Cardinals when they were 8-8, don't root for them when they're 8-1 next year. So, don't act like you're down now when in the 17th game they get tied. So, I'm not really too worried about it. Also, the Alex Smith thing, I think we kind of have to touch on it a little bit, just because he, it's been reported that he was going to be moved on today. And I think I just want to tell the fan base, let's stop with the nostalgia. I love Frank Gore. I love Alex Smith. I love all those guys. Come on. Just bringing them back just because they were there. Come on. Like, there's so many pressing needs right now, and there's a portion of this fan base that's yelling at me about signing Alex Smith and signing Frank Gore. And it's just like, dude, come on. Like, focus. Can we focus?
What that is, and I don't necessarily blame the fans for wanting it, obviously, just because of all, it is nostalgic. What those moves are is what a team does when they know they're not going to be good, and you're trying to get fans to come to the games. And with Frank Gore and Alex Smith, you can go, hey, this is your last chance to see them. It's pretty cool, huh? Come to the game, watch us lose to whoever we're going to play, but you'll get that one last chance to see number 11 and number 21. For a team whose ideas are Super Bowl playoffs, it doesn't make sense. And that's what it is. Listen, Alex Smith, amazing comeback story, almost died because of his legs. Like that's amazing. He wasn't good last year. Go look at his numbers, right?
No,
it just doesn't make sense.
So let's even break it down another spot. He wasn't good. They won a bunch of games though, right? They won 5 games when Alex Smith was there, and that's what everybody points to, right? QB wins. But the thing is this. He couldn't even finish the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Like, I fear for the man's long-term health. I understand and I applaud your drive and your passion, but at this point, why would Alex Smith, if he has one more year left to go, accept a complete straight-up backup role, as opposed to maybe trying to see if he can get a quarterback competition going? Mm-hmm. For all those reasons, it just doesn't make sense. Now, if he wants to come over here in a straight-up mentoring role, which I don't think he does, because there's been some clips that have surfaced about Alex Smith and his time with the 49ers. And I implore anybody who hasn't, listen to those comments and listen to him talk about his time there from the beginning to the end. So listen to that. Doesn't sound like he's too keen on coming back either, too. So remember, it takes 2 to tango. I don't know if Alex Smith wants to be here either.
Yeah, and you mentioned he won his 5 games this year. You know who else won 5 games? Teddy Bridgewater with the Saints, 5-0. Quarterback wins. Talk about it. But yeah, like I'm on the same thing. Like, I don't think he's gonna want to take a backup role. And also, man, isn't it already a problem? Like, I don't want to like sound negative. Isn't it already kind of a problem that we're talking about bringing a quarterback to mentor, presumably Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, I feel like that's a weird sentence to say.
How are you gonna mentor a 29-year-old?
That's my point, is that it just doesn't make sense. And Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't need mentoring. He's been in the league for 4 years. So, like, if Jimmy Garoppolo is your starter, you don't need a guy to mentor him. Same thing with Frank Gore. Like, he's fine. Like, he's like, I'm not slandering Frank Gore and Alex Smith. I love them with all my heart. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. This is a team that's very limited on cap space. They're not going to bring guys in for nostalgic sake. They need to bring guys in that are going to actually play football. And Frank Gore, like, I think Frank Gore is more likely to be able to play a 17-game season than Alex Smith at this point.
Oh yeah.
But when you have guys like who would you rather have at this point? Listen, I'm not saying over career, because that's a wild question, Jason. As of March 1st, 2021, who would you rather have, Frank Gore or Michael Hasty?
That's easy. I want to see what Hasty has.
I want to see what. Yeah.
I get it, man. Like, I get it. Look, Frank Gore comes over here. You need 3.5 yards. You can get that. You can get that every time. But let's allocate that money to the people that I would rather the 49ers brought in somebody else too. Like, let's not just say JaMychal Hasty. There might be another running back that they could bring in because Tevin Coleman's gone. Right? There's more money off of it. And things like that. Right? Matt Breida. Right? Like, would you rather have Matt Breida or Frank Gore back? Bring
Todd
one of those
Gurley
back. Whoa. That's where I get a little.
Am I plugging an article I'm gonna write soon? What? No, but yeah, like that's just kind of my point. Listen, I love them. I love them with all my heart. The only contract I want them signing with the 49ers is a one-day thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. Listen, and also too, it's also a little selfish because I know if the Niners sign Alex Smith, he's not starting. I would rather him go to insert blank team that needs a starting quarterback. So Alex Smith, we could see what Alex Smith can offer at age 30, whatever. I would rather Frank Gore go to a team where he has a better chance to be a feature back like he was with the Jets last year. Things like that. I want to be able to see them fully play if I'm going to enjoy them. I would much rather see Frank Gore have 750 rushing yards with let's say the Miami Dolphins. I know he's been there, but let's just say the Dolphins. I don't know. That's the team I say. Then
he's a Miami guy.
Yeah, then him having 300 rushing yards with the 49ers. So, and he probably wouldn't even get that because the lion's share of the carries are going to go to Wilson and Mostert. And Gore's just going to kind of be there. I'd rather see them succeed somewhere else and just kind of have them sit on the bench wearing their jerseys that they wore with the Niners. So is what it is. It is what it is. That's my thoughts on it. But like, as I said, I understand the people who want to bring them back. Like, I get it. I understand the nostalgia. Like, I was excited when the Giants brought Hunter Pence and Pablo Sandoval back. Like, it's fun. It's exciting, but is it necessarily the smartest move? No. So, well, I guess we just talked about not wanting 49ers legends. I feel like that's a very good place to finish this podcast.
So Jason, for sure, the podcast is finished already.
Yeah, there we go. So we were able to get into Frank Gore, Alex Smith talk as well. That's something we needed to talk about for a few weeks now, but with Alex Smith being officially available, it's something to bring up. So that's that. We're going to be back on, whatever day, Friday, if we're live or not, we'll be back Friday. Beautiful. Jason, I hope you have a great week. It's Monday. It's early in the week, but I hope you have a great one. Listen, guys, like if you're coming to our podcast for the next 2 weeks, it's just going to be a lot of speculation. Nothing's going to be concrete until March 17th. And that's what it is. That's what it's going to be. Jason, as always.
Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.